Hello, people. Hello, people. Oh my goodness. So, we have one more thing to do today. Actually, I have another live session after this. Okay, you people did not know. I was on vacation this last week, so I had all the time in the world. I had all the time in the world this week to be online, to do all these things. Now, got to go back to work next week. So I want to announce the winner for our last giveaway, maybe exercise. So the question was, how has the Eucharist impacted your life? And what advice can you give to people, young people, people of all brackets? What advice can you give to them that will help them to not see the mass as boring? What's going on? It says this is not showing on Facebook, is it? But I see somebody following. Okay, good. Yeah. Okay, good. So, yeah, like I said, I wanted to announce the winner for our giveaway for an exercise that I did on the Eucharist. And actually, later I'm going to be sharing how I also would encourage people to approach the Mass, the Eucharist, the Catholic Mass, our most significant, the central prayer of our life, our spiritual life as Catholics, the source and fount of the Christian life for Catholics, because I know other Catholics who will not maybe accept, agree, or express their own spirituality in that way. So the winner for this giveaway is, drum roll, Cindy Bethrand. Cindy Bethrand is our winner. So I'm going to read her story. I actually called her to send her account number, and the good thing she was still awake, so she sent it, and I've sent the link for her to join me. I don't know if she's able to join me. I know by now it's exactly 7 minutes past midnight in Nigeria. I'm doing this now so when people wake up they can see it. And so yeah, Cindy, let me read Cindy's story. I think it's a very, very powerful story that she shared, and she was just telling me more about it when I called her to hear about how that felt for her. So this is Cindy's story. Yeah, she says, I encountered the Eucharist. I think I should turn off this music. I encountered the Eucharist miracle life. God showed me his power in the Eucharist. Growing up, my grandma told me that there is power in the Eucharist. I believed her and always pray hard with everything in me whenever the Eucharist is carried or raised up. I wanted siblings, being an only child. I was lonely, but God came through and gave me 3 siblings. I already have 2 senior late brothers that died at the ages of 8 years. After many years, God blessed my mom with a son, and reaching 8 years, illness struck, and my parents were hopeless, thinking that this is how he would die like the other boys. Then I have started receiving communion. I went into prayer, and one day at the Mass, immediately, the rest the Eucharist, chai, I prayed like never before, and I heard that voice clearly. I received my communion, and after the Mass, I went home and drank water and pour it inside my brother's mouth and say to God, Father, you said that my brother should partake in the Eucharist, but he hasn't started receiving Eucharist. Please heal him because I believe that there is Eucharist in this water I spit into his mouth. And that is the end of that sickness. And today he is 22 and alive. From that day, my family, especially me and my mom, do not joke with Holy Mass. And there is this peace that I always have whenever I am disturbed and I receive Holy Eucharist. Okay, Cindy is here on Facebook. Cindy, I just saw your. Let me see if I can call her on WhatsApp and she will share her story. Seems like she couldn't join. Yeah, it's a lot to join um this here. Cindy Bethrand. Come on, come on, come on. Yeah, ringing. It's ringing. It's ringing. Yes. Hello, Cindy.
Hello.
Hi, you are on live right now. Hello, people. Hello, people. Hi, I,
Fine.
I Cindy. I know I already told you that you won, so it is no more a surprise for you. I would have liked to just call you in the moment so I know how your response would be. That's what I would do next time. So, how are you?
I'm fine. Good evening from this side.
Yeah. I know it's already morning for you all. Yeah, we are still around 3 p.m. Some minutes past 3. So, tell me how did you feel when I called you and told you that you were the winner for the giveaway?
To be honest with you, I was speechless and marveled. I didn't see it coming. I didn't see it coming. As in, Ty, as in the kind of writes of the kind of comments on that particular post. I know those as in you had the good about, so I just decided to share my own personal testimony. That's
Yeah.
what happened. I just shared a true life testimony.
Yeah.
So as in the write up and all the comments we have massed, as in everybody gave it all his or her best. So I just wanted to share my true life story. So I'm so happy. I'm so happy. Thank you so much. I really appreciate. That money is for my grandma because she's the one that introduced me to the Holy Eucharist.
Okay.
That money is
Okay, that's good. Yeah, I'm hearing you talk about the fact that so many other people wrote wonderful things, and yeah, a lot of guys that I know, people who are maybe even seminarians or ex-seminarians, people who have studied theology, they wrote like amazing stuff, very very clean stuff, and that brings me to
that's why I didn't see my own comment. That's why I didn't I wasn't even interested in the giveaway because I saw a lot of fried sauce. So I didn't even expect my own to came top 10.
Yeah. So let me explain. The criteria I used was not just content. The question is clear. How has the Eucharist impacted your life? So that's one part. And then the other part is how do you what would you advise for people um, who are struggling with appreciating the Eucharist, appreciating the Mass as the fullness of the body and blood of Christ. So that people don't get bored when they go to Mass. So yeah, your answer was very relevant because your personal story, I felt like it was like just it just hit it at the head. It was so clear that this was not something you picked up from somewhere or a story that someone told you. It is your story, and there was a lot of vulnerability with that, like going ahead to share such story in public. That's commendable. So risking judgment, risking that people will judge you, they will be like, even for me to choose you is a risk, but I really don't care. Like, it's a risk. Am I saying that yes, what happened was really miracle? It's not for me to say. But I feel that if you tell me that what you experienced was a miracle, that is what it is. You're an expert in that experience. You know what it feels like, or what it felt like for you to lose two of your brothers, and now come to the point of also come to the verge of losing another one, and then God brings them back to life. So in that kind of situation, nah, anything you tell me, I hold it with a lot of respect.
I will say that it's a miracle. My first brother name was Sochema. The other one was Chidebube. So both of them are now late. Wow. So I have two senior siblings, Sochema and Chidebube. They died as in the same age. So as in it's a miracle.
Yeah.
It's a miracle. As in, even my parents have lost hope. I was sleeping, but I was not. But I was hearing their discussion.
Yeah.
I sensed the fear in my mother's voice, in her tone. Yeah. As a kind of, should I just say, affliction coming for the third time.
Yeah.
So as a child, I know how I prayed to get that sibling.
Some people do not know the story. Some people do not know the story. Can you tell us the story again? Now this is going to be Cindy just going through how her experience of her personal experience of the Eucharist, the power of the Mass, how that was very relevant, and what that means for her, and what she wants to share with every other person. Go ahead, Cindy.
Okay. Hello, people. First of all, I just want to appreciate Son of Big God. I'm very, very happy. And to all of you, especially the Catholics, even non-Catholics, please take the Eucharist very serious. Even the whole Mass, because at a time I see young guys during the Mass, they will keep on pressing for, as in it will be like they force them to the church. That is very wrong. There is power in the Holy Mass. There is power in the Eucharist. If you believe, I'm a living testimony. Growing up, I was an only child. I was 8 years old before I could get a sibling. I was lonely. As in, living in a public yard with a lot of children, a lot of family, being an only child, only me, my mother, and my dad. So I kept on praying to God. A time my grandmother came, we went to the church. Yeah. As a little child, immediately they lit the Eucharist. She started praying like she didn't, she started like praying like as if there is something she's seeing, as if there's something happening that time, that very part. I was like, we have been praying all this way, but why this particular time?
Yeah.
So out of curiosity, when we are going home, I asked her. She now told me that whenever they leave the Eucharist, that I should pray. There is a very mighty power. She explained it to a layman's language in a way a little child will understand. To me, okay, so there is power in this thing. This thing must get. I said, Grandma, will this thing give me a sibling? She said, yes, pray very hard. Oh, I said, Mom, we should be what will you see? Chineke one, so every day, as anytime they leave that Eucharist, that has always been my prayer point. Finally, God answered my prayer. And the devil did what? Struck as usual. But this time around, my mother now has someone to pray with. My family now has someone to stand in the gap for them. I stood in that gap with the power, with the belief I have in Eucharist. I stood in the gap for my family. So that particular day, my brother was very sick. We are living in a one-room apartment. So I wasn't that fast asleep. I could hear my parents' discussion. So I went to the church. Immediately, I was following the Holy Mass. So they get to the point of the Eucharist. Immediately they leave the Eucharist, I started praying like never before.
Yeah.
All I had was, let your brother partake in this Eucharist. I was a little bit confused because during the catechism class, they said that if you bring out the Eucharist, that your tongue will be very long and it should be sweeping the floor. So I was a kind of, I keep talking like the voice for the second time said, let your brother partake in this Eucharist. And they also taught us during our catechism that after receiving the Holy Communion, don't take anything. Don't eat anything apart except you took water first. I could remember those words. So after the mass, I went home. I didn't take anything. I could remember looking for water. My mom was like, come and eat. I said, Mommy, I'm coming. I was just busy looking for water because it's on a Saturday morning. We went for Saturday morning mass. After the morning mass, when I joined the religion. So before I could come back, it's that kind 10.
Yeah.
So I was busy looking for water. So she felt that I was very hungry, but I was looking for water because I know that I have a mission. So
what was your mission? What was your mission?
My mission is to let my brother partake in the Eucharist.
Okay.
So I drank the water and gargled my mouth with it and went straight to my brother where he was lying down on a couch and bent down and poured the water inside his mouth.
Okay.
My mom was like, what is happening? I didn't say anything. I just made sure that I googled my mouth very because I know that there are some communion still left in because I have not taken anything.
Yeah.
So I poured water inside his mouth. That's it. Everybody kept on looking. Before the evening of that day, in fact, the hair on his head have changed colors.
Wow.
Because of that illness. So before the evening, when I see the person that cannot even sit down and eat, now stood up as in nobody was holding him.
Mm.
I was a kind of only, careful. As in he just nodded because he was weak.
Yeah.
Evening passed. The following day, the stress kept on increasing. That was how my brother survived it.
Wow.
No medicine. We didn't go to hospital because we normally visit one hospital. Anybody that knows Enugu very well, one Dr. Nigwe hospital for children. So the last time my parents went there, the man asked them not to come back again, just for you to know that maybe there's nothing they can do again.
Yeah.
So they are not just my parents. We are not just waiting for them to hear that bad news, but no, the Eucharist said no, it's not yet time. I believe that the ones that we are gone was because nobody was there to sit in the gap. So I stood in the gap for my family, and with the power of the Eucharist, my brother lives. Even up till now, he's 22 years old. And in fact, I'm a product of it. I don't joke with it. Whenever I'm down, whenever I feel like there is something, even right now, I'm married into an Anglican family, but I still visit the Blessed Sacrament. At times, I still go to Catholic Church, and I don't play with Mass.
Yeah. Yeah, when you were talking with me, when I was talking with you earlier, you told me that in the Anglican Church, they tell you people to denounce Catholicism.
Yes. Well, if you come from Catholic Church, they will do something they call Nabata. As a kind of welcoming, you will sit in the altar, they will give you a template, they will say, I denounce Virgin Maria and everything that concerns Virgin Maria. I denounce Catholic and all these things.
Anyway, it's cool. I mean, your story is powerful. Why I wanted to bring that up is that it just goes back to what we have been sharing on this platform.
Yeah. Yes, because yes, what you said is true. Do you know why? I have seen a lot of people from Anglican Church that's married into Catholic families. As in, we don't do that in Catholic Church. But this one, they will bring you out before the whole congregation, not even just us for getting out, but as in, the whole congregation will be there. All these things. No.
Yeah,
somehow.
yeah, that is targeted at the Catholic Church. That's the thing. We as Catholics, there's something we do. It's called. It used to be called RCIA, Right of Christian Initiation of Adults. Now it is OCIA, Order of Christian Initiation of Adults. Just different interpretation of the Latin of right and order. So what we do is, like, if you come into the Catholic Church as an adult, we want to make sure that you are choosing to follow this path of faith. You understand it and it is your choice. So you'll be taken through series of like classes, series of like a formation series, after which you'll be baptized. That is if you have not already been baptized. If you have been baptized, you're fine. You'll be confirmed, and it's just for you to really know what you are getting into. And I heard you say the Eucharist, the Eucharist. I want to make it clear for our viewers, and thank you for that story. By the way, this is a miracle. The problem we have is that we do not document things as most Africans. We Documentation is still a challenge for us. If you were somewhere else in the Western world, they could investigate that story, they can go deeper into it, and it could be established as a miracle that will be recognized by the church. But again, we do not document it. And probably when they go to document it and they ask your neighbors will say, no, forget those people. They are witches and wizards. Anyway, so I just want to appreciate you for sharing that story, and then to appreciate everyone who contributed in the context, no, contest, not context. And I hope that the money you receive for the giveaway is something that you can use. But the most important thing is not the money. The most important thing is the message. The message.
Yeah.
We have done a
Yeah.
giveaway. We have tried to share our belief in the Eucharist. And when I say the Eucharist, I want to make that clear. The Eucharist is the fullness of the body and the blood of Christ. Oriri diaso.
Yes.
Is the fullness, is the fullness of the body and the blood of Christ. Is the place where we have the highest intensity of the presence of God on earth. There is something about pantheism, God in everything, and there's also something like transcendence. God cannot be contained in creation. These are theological terms. So some people say that, oh, God is in everything, so there's no need for us to go to God or go to chapel or go. That's credible argument. Other people say, but God is more than creation. You cannot reduce God to just be inside this room. So God is everywhere. So the immanence and transcendence of God. But for us Catholics, we believe solely that the Eucharist is the place where we find the fullness of the body and the blood of Jesus Christ. The intensity of that presence is in the Eucharist. And there have been so many miracles that prove this. There are miracles.
Of course. I even know someone about two.
Yeah.
With similar testimony of that Eucharist.
No,
two, as in, so.
Sorry, go ahead.
So, as I even know some, as in like two people with, as in the testimony of Eucharist. One was my Legion member. Then the same thing, as in the parents do not have another child. Yeah. All these things. So she said that after receiving the Holy Communion, whenever she went home, she would just as in spit out as in the particles that she believed that she stay in her mouth and rub on her mother's stomach. So before you know it, her own is like she's senior the immediate sibling with like about 15 years.
Yeah. Wow.
So I know two stories about this communion, this Holy Eucharist, but I don't know why some Catholics don't value what they have. They will be going from one thought to another, but you have something that is more powerful.
Yeah.
As well.
I will share something later. I will do another video on like practical tips on how to go to mass and get out of mass with something like tested and trusted. But you have to believe that The Bible says, um, uh, if you come to God in prayer without believing that God is there, I can't remember the verse. So if you are praying to God but do not believe that God is there to hear you, so the prayer is a waste of your time. So if you're coming to God, if you're coming to the mass, you have to come with something. It's like, I will do a video on this. I just hope I have the time. Basically, it's about
my grandmother hasn't made me believe in Eucharist. My grandmother taught me everything I knew about Holy Mass.
Let's shout out to your grandmother. Is she still alive?
So she's still alive. Very much, very young, very vibrant.
What is her name?
Mrs. Justina Ugu.
Mrs. Justina Ugu. Is she from Usuka?
No, she's from Izagu.
Oh, well, you know what? I was born in Izagu, but I don't know how to speak their dialect. Okay.
My grandmother is from Mbabo. She's alive, but my mom is no longer alive. But my grandmother is alive. Okay. Very, very young.
Okay. I think I was born in Mbabo. There's a secondary school there where my parents were living there when I was born. Anyway, it's not Juliana.
Mrs. Justina Abamma.
Justina. So later, go and show her this video. Mrs. Justina Abamma, your story, your faith has borne fruit today. It has been bearing so many fruits that are not known, that are not recorded. Okwukwe ga-amịtago mkpụrụ. Ezigbo okwukwe rọrọ arọ ịkụziri nwa gị. Okwukwe rọrọ arọ ijiri nwayọọ kụziere ụmụ gị. Ọ na-amịta mkpụrụ. Anyị na-ekele gị, anyị na-asị gị daalụ, mma jisie ike na ụmụaka gị na-eṅomi ezi ndụ gị, na-eṅomi ezi okwukwe gị, na-eṅomi ihe ọma niile ị na-akụziri ha. Cindy nọ ebe a na-agwa ụwa niile nọọ maka mgbazi gbaziri ya gbasara ihe bụ oriri dị asọ, mere ya nwa ji kọrọ ụwa ihe oriri dị asọ ahụ na ọbara Jesu mere na ndụ ya, mere na ndụ ezinụlọ unu. Ya mere anyị ji na-asị gị daalụ. Anyị sịrị na ụwa niile na-agbakọta ekele gị, asị gị mmeka daalụ ezi ka m tinyezie na Nsụka anya ezi anya. All right, so dare. Cindy, I will leave now because I have another live session to do. My vacation is ending this week. I have to get back to work next week. So I don't know if I'll have all this time anymore, but I really appreciate this time with you, Cindy, and with all of you joining us and watching. Share this video, share this thing, let other people hear it. That look, for us Catholics, we are privileged to have something that we are actually taking for granted. This lady here is currently an Anglican, but she has not forgotten. She still goes to the Eucharist she still goes to chapel for prayers. So we are losing it, and it's largely because of a lot of factors, and I hope to address that in another video. But I just wanted to shout out to you, Cindy, and to your grandma and everyone who is here. All Catholics, please do not lose what you have. And all those who contributed, all those who participated in this contest, thank you for your stories. We value your stories. We honor your stories. We are edified by your faith and your stories. And we hope that those stories continue to become the reference point for you, even when things become hard. That you know that He, the Lord, is with you always until the end of time. All right. Bye-bye.
Sir. Thank you.
Okay.